All right, good evening and welcome to the December 11th, 2023 meeting of the City of Shoreacres City Council. Ms. Goodman, will you call the roll?
Yes, sir. Mayor,
Present.
Lieutenant Mayor McComb,
Present.
Alderwoman Ramos, present. Alderman Greason,
Present.
Alderman Hoskins, and Alderman West.
Present. All right, we have a quorum. Join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Right. Good evening. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Item 3.0, we do not have any special presentations this evening. Item 4.0, council reports and requests, items of community interest or specific requests from council members for city manager to address at a future meeting. Do you have anything, council? Ms. Ramos? Mr. Bell?
No.
Mr. Greason?
No, sir.
Mr.
I want to tell you how proud and how glad I'm to see the marquee at the intersection of 146 and Shoreacres up and running.
Up and running. All right, as soon as I learn how to use it, will be better. Please note that Alderman Hoskins joined us at 6:03 p.m. All right. Moving on. Item 5.0, public hearings and public comments. This is the opportunity for public to address council or comment on items which appear on the agenda. Time is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. Comments are to be directed to the city council and dialogue with the audience is not permitted. Council members are prohibited by law from participating in the discussion or deliberation of items that are not specifically identified on this agenda. All right. Gordon, you got anything?
That's it.
You have anything?
Yeah, I just.
Okay, if you would stand at the podium over there and state your name and address for the record.
Hector Mendoza, 114 Baywood Street. So I was just here I was here last month or the month before about the construction on Baywood Street and just to see what the progress is on that, if you guys got a bid on it or when it's gonna start.
Perhaps Mr. Harrison can address that during his
Okay.
his
And then
presentation.
also the parking lot that was put in place there by,
I think Mr. Harrison has something on that this evening.
oh wait, so I'm just waiting. That's my only concerns.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
All right. Hello. We're doing public comments. Do you have anything this evening?
Hi.
If you do, you need to stand up there and state your name and address for the record. And you are being recorded, of course, so.
My name is Mary Becker. I live at 202 Fairfield, and it's been a long time since I've come to these meetings, and I am concerned about the developments along the bayfront, public access, and about more park benches being put along, if more park benches are going to be put along there, or they're included in any kind of plan. So.
Okay.
And I would also like to add that I would like to see more greenery, the way that the bay is being cut now, that all the rocks are exposed and the bushes that were growing up along there, they've all been cut down. And it, to me, the part of the beauty of Shoreacres, the way it was 35 years ago when I moved here, that it was more lush and there were oleanders along there and a lot of flowering plants, and they're not now. They're all been eliminated. So I would like to see that restored.
Okay. Thank you. I wasn't here that long ago. I've only been here 21. That's not bad. I like that. That's it. All right, moving on. Item 6.0, 6.1, the city manager's report, Mr. Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll read to you the cash position we're in as of last day of November of 2023. Restricted debt, $32,461.32. The unused portion of the wastewater project funds is $53,937.80. Utility deposit fund, $93,125.11. Road repair taxes, it's held in tax pool, $300,353.85. COVID grant funds, we have $47,475.38. Park pavilion improvements budgeted last year, we have $29,873.14. The Seth funds, $5,360.82. And that's a total of $562,587.42. On the unencumbered funds, the general fund checking, we're at $81,238.40. Utility checking, $243,038.65. The tax pool account, $654,886.93. And that's a total of $979,163.94. The general fund checking, you'll see is down, and we're used to that in December. Our property taxes have not really become, we've only collected 0.5% of what we expect to collect for the entire year. That's a little over $6,000, I think. So that money, the next few days should start rolling in. So we'll be fine there.
50% and 600,000.
Say again?
50% and 600. You said 0.5, just 50%, but you said 6,000.
It should be 0.0. Yes. And I did say that now that I think back.
So, yeah, we're doing quite well. All right, Ms. Ramos, anything?
No.
Mr. Bell? Mr. Hoskins? Ms. Grease?
On the SEF funds, those expenditures have to be done by the end of this month.
No, sir.
Okay.
We want to, we hope to, we want to expend those and be.
Troy's been talking to someone.
We've reached out to some people. We there's a little bit of money left, so we'd like to expend it before the end of the year. The mayor and I talked about that last week, and something we can get off the books. It's a liability right now. So, and anybody that knows somebody, there is that $5,000 remaining.
Anything else for Mayor Pro Tem McCollum?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right. Mr. Harris? I asked Troy to break out municipal court because we've made some significant changes there. And so this is the revenue and expenses for the 2 months for this fiscal year.
And the numbers kind of speak for themselves throughout for the first 2 months, like the mayor says. That represents obviously the October and November months. We're still in December. We'll be 25% through the year, but we're
Basically, what I wanted to do was know if we want to break even in municipal court. We don't want to make money or, that's not the goal, but we want to break even. Right now, we're a little positive, by the end of the year, hopefully it'll balance out and we won't be in the hole. That's the goal there. We did hire we replaced the court clerk, and so we were a little bit behind, and now we've caught up, and the 46 is probably a little more showing some of the revenue from last year. And so that'll level off, and our budget is about 150,000 in revenue and 150,000 in expenses. So we're hoping to meet that. Ms. Ramos, any questions on that?
No.
Mr. Bell, Mr. Hoskins, Mr. Greason, Mayor Pro Tem McCollum.
No, sir.
I will add that court has been a little bit of a monster for us, only because we went through COVID where we didn't have court for a long time. And then we went through a remodeling process where this room was utilized and we missed court. So like the mayor said, we're playing catch up now. And also the police department's back fully staffed. It was not fully staffed for a long time. So everything's kind of working in our favor now. And hopefully these numbers will stay true to what we expected. And like the mayor said, at the end of the year, we'll meet the budget on expenditures and revenue.
Yeah, if you recall at the end, September report, which is the end of the last fiscal year, we were pretty negative on municipal court because we hadn't had court, we hadn't collected. And so that's what's balancing out. So we're going to pay closer attention to that this year.
Have we caught up with the docket that we had outstanding?
I think on Thursday, we're having court on Thursday, and that will be we'll be finally caught up. Is that correct?
We will finally be caught up. The last court we had, I don't remember how many people we had, but we were writing, so the court software, and it's an automatic cutoff. We set the cutoff. And because nobody was showing up because of COVID and every other reason, we were setting the dockets for like 100 people, and we're back to the dockets at 50 now because people are showing up.
Yeah, so Thursday night, if you ever want to view court, it's on Thursday night this week, so. All right, Mr. Harrison, still.
All right, this is a little bit of an update on what we're doing at Shell Beach. You'll see the no fishing signs. We installed 4 signs, basically at the request of residents who thought the beach should be more enjoyed by people swimming and enjoying the beach more so than fishing because of hooks and things. So we purchased 4 signs. The 2 on the very north, the 2 that are on the very north side and the very south side say no fishing. And the signs point, one points north, one points south. And then there's 2 signs in the middle. This is one you're looking at on the right side of the screen that says no fishing at Shell Beach. And we have 2 signs that should be in this week that we'll post out there, that will post the hours that the beach is actually closed from dusk till sunrise. So hopefully all that together with this new parking and area for people to park, so they're not parking in people's yards and parking over there on the very south side where it gets so muddy. We continue to build this out, so we'll have the additional parking. We'll gain a net, I believe a net of 11 parking spaces when it's all said and done. We'll have a total of 13 parking places in this area. And it's deep enough, we thought this out, it's deep enough so that if you pull an extended cow pickup in there to take a kayak out of the back of it, you're not unloading anything in traffic. Wanted to make sure that we got people off the roadway when they're unloading equipment. When they parked in the old area, the backs of those vehicles a lot of times stuck out in traffic, and you could see people driving by that come really close to striking people. This is the area. And what I plan on doing is we're going to take this area out. We're going to extend the fence around kind of taking the same curve as the road itself. And we'll let grass begin to grow over here. We'll move all the parking to the 13 parking spaces. And it should look much better once grass fills all this in.
Yeah, and you'll notice one of the things we're doing with that is part of the street improvement. So it will drain. We're going to use that to go onto the bay, so it will drain properly. Because right now the water stands where the fire plug is. The water stands through there. So that asphalt, they're going to pull that out. He's bringing the bollards and chain or cable around, and then we'll be able to do a trench down so that the water flows. And the yacht club is going to go ahead and put oleanders and stuff along that fence, so that's pretty good. If you go back and if you look at this one, if you see on the beach view, Troy's already started with his crew. He's already started cleaning out all the bamboo, and the yacht club's very happy with that, of course, because it helps their view. I was out there Saturday, and the what they call the ragnauts, is that what they call them? The youth, they were sailing. They come through the fence there and down there, and they were loving it. Nobody was fishing on the beach. They were properly fishing over on where they were supposed to be fishing. Little kids were playing down there. It was really nice Saturday. So I think Troy's doing a great job here. And those, like he says, it's going to be a net of 11. It's 13 parking spaces there. It's going to be because we're taking 2 out, so it's a net increase of 11 parking spaces. And that goes in line, like I said, with the road. I got myself all messed up here somehow. Yeah, that goes in line with the road improvements. I'm not sure where we stand on that bid. We haven't gotten any bids back yet. I do know that, but we have had engineers working on the drainage part of it because it's a twofold thing. And so the engineers have started working on the drainage part of it. There's some discussion instead of a trench to put like what do you call those? French drain, like it won't be a French drain, but it'll be a system like that where it goes on, put the dirt on top of it. There's some thought they want to do that. So I'm not sure what they're going to end up with, but hopefully February-ish, we'll have a solid bid in place. And then you guys can approve that and get moving on down the road, but people haven't been jumping up and down to bid for it, unfortunately, so.
I went by there. How are we handling cleanup right now in that area? It looked nice.
On
now.
Shell Beach.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's been a one-man operation so far with Ray Dodd, and he's gone down with the tractor, done what he can. We're waiting on, I talked to him today, we're waiting on two chainsaw blades to come in that he ordered. And we're going to work on removing on that right picture, you'll see the trees kind of on the left. There's still a lot of brush and trash trees in between those that we want to clear out. And then on the right, we couldn't reach with the tractor. We couldn't reach up in there to get those last remaining trash, brush and trash trees. So we'll try to get the rest of that. And then other than that, we want to take the walkway from the street to the beach with crushed granite, maybe sometime in the spring. Do it right now. It's not going to do any good. We'll do it in the spring. And at the same time, we'll also repair the walkways at Circle Park.
Can I just say that the trash on Shell Beach after the weekends is horrible. We go down there and clean, there's several other residents that we take bags there, get some of those figures, and we pick up the trash, and we picked up, I picked up a half a bag, a big bag, and my wife picked up another half bag a couple weeks ago. It's just trash because people just come in there and they just trash it. They just throw it, whatever.
Yeah, we need to put I think we have no littering sign, but if, you know,
I don't care.
the officers see them doing it, they can do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, people
have to
are,
be standing there.
people can be pigs.
Oh, they are. They are.
So, anything else on the Shell Beach, Troy?
No, sir.
All right.
For the police report, it looks a little different up here than what you're used to. Well, obviously, we normally don't have a presentation like this, but these are the total numbers we get to. And if you have any questions about any specific call, besides code enforcement, I'll take those questions now. Code
You
enforcement.
have the breakout of calls in your packet.
We're going to give you a special presentation in just a second on code enforcement. So that's why I dissected that out.
I didn't notice anything in particular, although the loud noise, 3 of them this month, that was up a little bit. You don't usually have too many loud noises.
And some of that came from the port. I know because I got a phone call and I referred them. I gave them the number that we use to call and report noise at the port. If residents report that, it's actually better than the police department reporting it. They'll respond to residents much better.
Oh, so that was poor. It wasn't loud music.
The noise
What
complaints
part?
that I received was from the port. 2 out of the 3 were anyway.
Jerome, you got anything on the police report?
No, sir.
You're dependable about that, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's good right now, and I just want to stay that way through Christmas.
All right. Paul, you got anything?
No, sir.
Ron?
No, Jerome doesn't.
Wes? I know, I defer to Jerome. Alicia?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. All right, Troy, see what we got next. Code enforcement.
All right, Sergeant Tidwell is going to give our code enforcement report.
Good evening. Since August, we have moved, gonna have 7 junk vehicles, 3 brush violations and 2 high grass violations. Everything so far has been in compliance. They got in compliance after I spoke with them, or they received a letter, except for 2. This is one of them on South Broadway. I'm sure you've seen this vehicle. We're currently working with the owner of the property to either get it removed or whatever that she needs to do. She is going to be receiving a citation tomorrow, so we see her how that goes.
This is the one, when you're coming into the city on South Broadway on the right-hand side?
That's correct. And then I also during November, I sent out 6 dead trees and letters, and they still have, until January to be in compliance. This is another junk vehicle that this individual was issued a citation last week for. I gave her, she received a letter in October, and I gave her plenty of time to try to get it fixed. She finally got issued a citation.
So, but overall, you're getting positive
Yes, sir.
responses from
Yes,
people you contact?
Yeah, these are the only 2 that I only had really an issue with. Everybody else that I spoke to, they got in compliance, I removed it, whatever they gotta do. And as far as the brush, I waited till after a heavy trash day to
Yeah.
get done. I don't really want to harass anybody like in that sense, but we're going to start getting on it next week.
Okay. Jerome,
No,
anything
good.
for us, Sergeant? Anything for the Sergeant? Wes?
No, sure.
Alicia?
That's,
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good to see you here. I like that, Troy. Public Works, Mr. Harrison. What, you don't have anybody here to do that for you?
Well, if he does a good job, he can have, he can do this every Monday night for me. If I can, just real quick, I'd like to go back. You asked a question. In the police department, we always want compliance before we issue citations. I think we are probably more patient with people than any other government entity I know about knocking on their door first and basically begging them to fix whatever the problem is. A citation is the absolute last resort. This particular vehicle, not that one, the other one, she's agreed to meet Sergeant Tidwell on at least 2 occasions and discuss this with him on the property, and she's failed to show up after he's come in. So he's going to write her a citation tomorrow and then one a week until it gets moved. It's a violation every day it's there. We're not going to write her a violation every day. Those tickets are expensive to write, but we are going to issue one a week until it gets resolved.
Great.
Last resort. Okay, our Public Works report is pretty simple this month. It's been really nice that the drought's over. Our leaks have gone down. We're still having some, but they're minor. They're not difficult to get to. We're still having problems with endpoints, but we're getting those replaced. I think Ray replaced more today. And we were over there looking. We've got some I need to send back and see if we can get them warranted. We try to do that. They sent us 24 new ones 2 months ago.
Will you clarify what an endpoint is?
Yeah, an endpoint is the actual registration device that's at the top of them. It attaches to the bottom of the lid on the meter. And it's actually the component that's read by
The cell tower.
yes, sir. So it is actually the system that reads to us. It sends the digital footprint here for what we are. So other than that, David Sutton's company won the bid for the project on the water line and what we call the Fairfield Metal Lawn water line is completely finished. They went and did some cleanup today, and that is that was supposed to be done by the end of the year, and it's completely wrapped up. So I'm thankful for that. That'll be the last of our COVID monies that we write a check for probably this month.
Any questions for Mr. Harrison?
My disconnects, is that voluntary disconnects by the residents or forced?
That's forced, and we do.
So everybody paid.
That month they did. Disconnects will be again tomorrow, and we have some on there. I'd also like to add that we had a TCEQ inspection last week that we had no violations on. The only thing I owe TCEQ is a copy of our contract between us and the city of LaPorte where we purchase water. But other than that, everything's in good working condition and they find no fault with anything that we're doing. So that I probably worried about that way more than I should have. It was all good when it was all said and done.
Always know when he's got an audit because he's like this.
TCEQ scares me. I don't mind telling you. That's public water supply. That's important.
All right, anything else? Paul?
We have a panel that we were going to replace on the water system. Did that get done?
They're still working on it. At the November meeting, all the components was in, but the panel itself was not in. Now it's in and it's built. We're waiting. They've got, I think, one thing left, a relay or something, and then it'll go in, but it's built. It's completely ready. Just has to be installed.
Anything else? All right, thank you, Mr. Harrison.
Yes, sir.
Moving on, item 7.0 business, item 7.1 minutes from the November 13th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to consider to approve? Have a motion from Mr. Hoskins. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Ms. Ramos. All right, you've seen the minutes. Any corrections? Is Mr. Dreesen's name spelled correctly?
Yes, it is.
All right. Way to go, Elaine. Any questions? All those in favor of approving the minutes as is, say aye.
Aye.
And it passes unanimously. Moving on, item 7.2. Let's see what this. I've got it right here. I don't know what I'm doing. 7.2 ordinance 2023-12-01. I'm going to read the opening of it. An ordinance of the city of Shoreacres, Texas pertaining to changes in chapter 30 floods, finding compliance with the open meetings law and providing an effective date hereof. Do I have a motion to consider?
Motion.
I have a motion for Mr. McCown. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Greason. All right, this is a long and complicated thing, and Mr. Harrison has brought in two experts this evening. If you would introduce your experts and then we can move forward.
Absolutely. Most of you know Latney. He's our building inspector for the city. I only introduce him first because he is known by everybody. Debbie Visak, she's known by most of us here because she spent so much time with us the last few weeks, but Debbie is a subject matter expert on the CRS cycle, the Community Rating System cycle, which is an audit we go through every 5 years. And it's a nerve-wracking audit. It really is. American mock me, but there's a lot that goes on, a lot of moving parts. And when you belong to the CRS organization, when you're part of that group, you agree that you will do certain things in order for a discount on your flood insurance for your residents. So Debbie's been the one that's helped walk me through that, not just the CRS audit, but we have a CAV, which is a community awareness, a community assistance audit in December too. It's not as bad as this, but it seems like they just keep coming. But Debbie's our subject matter expert on that. She's met with us. She helped me through the audit, and she helped us 5 years ago too.
Yeah, let me just do a preamble so that you know what Debbie has done for us. When Troy first took the job, he came to me and said, look, we're going to need help. You know, I'm not a subject matter expert on this. So he went out and he found a subject matter expert, and she has been very, very proactive in helping us. And our community rating system has never been higher. We've gone up. Our discount is better. And she keeps us from making it low. And so she's keeping us there, and she's actually trying to help us improve, even though we're a little stubborn to do it sometimes. But she can answer any questions you have. What you're going to see in the screen is just the changes to the order. You have the full ordinance in your packet, and it's long. These are all the changes. There's numerous, a lot of changes. Some of them don't really pertain to our particular city, but Debbie and talk, she's our interface to FEMA and that group actually. And so she, in talking with them, she has advised us that we need to keep those in to make them happy, basically. It's a little more complicated than that, but in layman's terms, that's what we're doing. So I'll go back to Troy, but the preamble that I wanted to say is make sure you know that she has done a whole lot to help you guys with discounts on your flood insurance. So thank you.
She has, and in the beginning, she dropped everything she was doing to come help us because we had put off, and nobody knew about it. And they called and said, you have an audit. And I said, lucky me, I just had this job 2 weeks. I don't know anything about it. They said, we don't care. We'll be there in 2 weeks. So thank you, Debbie. This, in looking at our ordinance, some of it's just a cleanup of language. It is redundant throughout the ordinance, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish one building code for the entire city. Wherever you build in the city, it hopefully will be, with you guys passing it, will be the same code no matter where it's at. That will help be consistent throughout the city and get us out of these special flood zones. And maybe if I say anything is not accurate, please correct me. Other than that, we are taking and we're making sure that our ordinance is not in conflict with other parts of the ordinance. We've had that before where a few years ago, we talked about 2 feet of freeboard versus 1 feet of freeboard across the ordinances. And we had to get a city attorney to write a letter saying we enforce more stringent. And this cleans all of that up. It cleans it up and it straightens it out. And according to Latney, because he helped us on this is going to make it a lot easier. Instead of having to decide if this means this or if this means that, it will be a standard meaning in here, and it'll be easier to not only to describe to somebody how they need to build a house, but to inspect it as they go through the building process. Debbie, would you like to add anything?
Not unless there are questions.
Okay.
Anything.
The way I structured this is the red are the additions. And then you'll see strike throughs throughout as well. But these are only the changes in all these, 30 pages or whatever it is. And so these are only the changes. So first change obviously is related to repetitive loss and the definition of what it is. We had to add that.
That's changed from what it was like down below for substantial improvement, 50%. So now it's 25% of the market value of the structure.
Oh, should I just stand up?
Yep.
No, it's just it's the standard FEMA definition for repetitive loss. It's just a 25% over a 10-year period, but the substantial improvement is still 50% or more of the market value. But adding this definition gives the city like 19 points in the CRS. So I don't know how familiar y'all are with the CRS, but it's, you know, these different activities that you do and then you get credit. And so some of these in here are for the purpose of making it uniform across the city and then also get the boost of the CRS credit.
So you want to give a quick overview of the CRS? Can you, in layman's term, real?
Sure, it's a voluntary federal program that rewards communities for enforcing higher standards beyond the minimum NFIP for the National Flood Insurance Program. And so there's all kinds of activities. There's outreach, newsletters, there's hazard disclosure from realtors, there's website credit, library, drainage maintenance, stormwater management, flood warning system. There's just a whole array of activities. And for the most part, communities can pick and choose which ones they want to do with a few exceptions of prerequisites. But there's a lot of credit in these higher standards, which is requiring going beyond just building at the base flood elevation. So in the city right now, and I have current numbers. I want to be able to tell you this. So right now you are a class 10. So that it goes from 10 to 0. 10 is no discount, 9 is 5% discount off your flood insurance premium, 8, 10, you know, like that. And so right now you're an 8. And so on current numbers, you have 442 policies. And there's 1,641 premiums. I mean, $4,100 in premiums. So if you average that, people are paying 1,641. That's the average premium. The total premium is 725,000. Okay, so if you take 10% off of just that 1,641, you're getting $164 off of your annual premium. And so part of why we want to do these changes for the CRS is to knock that down. So the 15% discount at a class 7 would be $246 off. And that's for anybody in the floodplain. And a class 6 is 20%, and that's 328. So it goes, you know, it increases,
That's a
right?
pretty good jump.
And so real quick, last year in April 2022, FEMA rolled out their risk rating 2.0, which kind of apparently the NFIP was paying too much money. So for claims and stuff, so they're rating people on an actuarial risk. So now it's not just, okay, you're in the floodplain, you're going to pay this amount. Now it's, we need to look at you and how you're elevated and what your foundation is, and we need to look at you. And so it's individually based. But the CRS discount applies to everybody who is compliant. So that's another reason why putting things in the ordinance and not just adopting it, but enforcing it is key to making sure that residents get that discount. That's it in a nutshell.
So we've basically been able to double our discounts since Debbie came on board. So that's pretty good.
Well, that's the goal. I mean, right now we're in an 8 and we're
Right.
going for the 7 and we want the 6. And I'm very confident that y'all can get the 5, not this time. But
Right.
there's a little bit more involved in it, but that's the goal.
Okay, so let me ask you a quick question. How many, if we pass this tonight, right? How many CRS points is that going to buy us or give us? towards-
It's a big one. It's a big one because
big-
basically it's 500 points and that alone is a class.
Okay.
Because it's taking V-zone standards, which is, you know, you're, closer to the water and applying it across the city. So where you would build like to your lowest floor in an AE zone, you build to the lowest horizontal structural member in a V zone. So you're taking the V zone standards, you're applying them everywhere. And that's a huge chunk of points.
Okay, so the first one is repetitive loss. I gotta go through these. I know it's, and here are the, there's one, obviously a typo, but the second one is self-explanatory on that one. Any questions? Y'all stop me as we go, because these are not for me, this is for y'all to talk about. This is probably something that Ladney's very familiar with. And see, you see the strike throughs, okay.
Yeah, no, this one gets back to the same thing, 4 feet above the highest floor. And, you know, this is where, let's see, it talks about low distribution center. It doesn't cover the condensing unit outside.
That's correct.
That's why you're here.
It needs to cover the condensing unit outside, and for all those houses that's built on slabs that didn't get the substantial damage, needs to be 4 foot above the living space floor at grade elevation. Otherwise, you wind up with somebody with a 1.5 story building with it mounted at the floor above up to the second floor. And all the living space is still down on the grade elevation, which makes absolutely no sense.
It didn't to me either until Latney explained it.
That has been done away with. That's why this only talks about electrical. The air conditioning part of it, which is what I think you're talking about, was eliminated.
We got rid of that a year ago.
Yeah, it was taken out of the ordinance. So now your air conditioner can, if it was originally set on the ground, it can still set there.
Okay.
And Mr. Greason, we asked,
Unless your house is substantially damaged.
we asked that question specifically when they were here during the audit. That was a specific question they were asked to make sure that we didn't end up at that situation again.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get back to where we wanted the board to try and make that determination. We wanted the flood, what we get on the flood to stand and not
Well,
have.
now it's only what's up there, newly installed electrical service disconnect.
What does number 12 mean?
To be honest, full disclosure, that's just something that needed to go in there to get the full credit for it. I mean, obviously it would be landward, you're talking.
Obviously,
away from
you
the-
have mangroves,
Over the water.
Right,
yeah, mangroves and sand dunes.
right.
That was one of the ones I was talking.
No building on Shell Beach, is what you're saying.
Mayor, you had mentioned something about redundancy. And so, yes, when I sent it to FEMA and the state and I said, look at this, and they came back and said, you don't want to take this out, be very careful. And I was like, okay, then we'll put it all back in. So a lot of the red is really just it copied from another section and put right there so that it's consistent.
Yeah.
It's not really anything new. Point.
Any questions on this slide? I don't think we're going to have any non-residential construction, but again, that's a long one.
That is all copied from another part that was already in there.
Already in our code.
Well, it is for the VE zone, and now it's just copied
Oh, I
here.
see.
It's the exact same language.
Had a question about manufactured homes today. I sent that to you, Lad. Did you get that?
Yeah, I talked with an individual today on the telephone.
It's tough to put a manufactured home here, so.
They do it. I've seen some in Louisiana.
This is one where I know that you don't have manufactured home parks in the city, but it had to be in there for FEMA. And then that one and instead of the or, that is a prerequisite to move beyond a class 8 in the CRS. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's that one word. If you didn't adopt it, you would be stuck at the class 10, no matter how much credit you had did or whatever higher standards. So
You have to have both and not either one or the other.
Mayor, right now, we don't permit pre-manufactured homes in,
We do. And we have for a long time. And I think we have 2, maybe 3, but I think 2 manufactured homes in the city. And, but over the last number of years, I've had people call and ask me about it. I say, absolutely, you may. You need to follow all of our ordinances. As soon as I tell them it's got to be 12 feet in the air, they go build it somewhere else.
This is all strikeout because of some of the other stuff.
right, you did have one area that you were building to VE standards, and so now it just kind of takes away that boundary and extends it.
Yeah, the West Country Club over.
Right.
All this is removed because of the other things that they put in. Okay, that's it. Do y'all have any other questions for us? Ask while the subject matter expert is here. She doesn't come often.
She answered one question I had.
Alicia, anything? Wes?
I can't think of anything.
Paul, anything else? This is your baby.
well, I would like to get a copy of all the strikeouts, you know.
Oh, there it
that's
is.
done it.
It should be in there. If not, put in the wrong one for you, but yeah, that's easy. I got that.
Right now, it's, we need to do it to get the city consistent and, any questions other than the air conditioning?
All right. Mayor Pro Tem McCown?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Ladney. All right. End of discussion. All the, anything? I thought you were gonna say something. All right, all those in favor of adopting the changes as presented this evening, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And it passes unanimously. All right, moving on, item 7.3, a second regular meeting this month. It so happens that the 4th Monday is on Christmas Day. Y'all wanna do that?
What time?
So that bills for lack of a motion. Item 8.0 adjournment. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
A motion from Mayor Pro Tem McCown. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second from Mr. Greason. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned as of 6:45 PM. Thank you for coming.